Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, in accordance with provisions of the Open Public Act, NJSA, St. Coleman Board-6, PL 1975, C 231, S1 Amendment 2006, C 70, S2. The Asbury Park Board of Education has provided adequate notice of this meeting by sending a notice of time, date, and location, and the exact known agenda of this meeting to Asbury Park Press, the new poster on January 14, 2022, via email. Copies of the notice have been placed at the administration board, the building bulletin board, district schools, Asbury Park Municipal Building, and Asbury Park Police Department, and filed with the city clerk on January 14, 2022. Asbury Park District will provide all students with a comprehensive and progressive education where everyone possesses the skills and character to succeed in diverse and evolving global society. Roll call, Mr. Hastings.
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Wallace?
Present.
Ms. Breach?
Here.
Mr. Grillo?
Present.
Mr. Alvarado?
Here.
Mr. Redding? Ms. Ricks?
Here.
Mr. Saunders? Mrs. Zinsky?
Here.
Ms. Cook?
Here. Please rise for the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to start with our reports from the committees. Dominic, can you go first, please?
Sure.
Finance?
Finance Committee, our first agenda item was the legislative audit. Follow-up was the audit from the Office of Legislative Services. They were here for months and months, if you recall, and presented a November 2019 report. In those areas, we're dealing with cleaning up some smaller issues with regard to scheduling, staff assignments, overtime, early childhood procedures, and the healthcare waiver process. We're providing the documentation that they've requested, so that's going in, and then we'll get a response back to how we handle that. Second item is the SBA Emergent Capital Maintenance Grant. Remember, this grant for a little under $300,000, we're going to replace the elevator at the Upper Elementary School, or Luther King Upper Elementary School, so that'll be huge. The other good news is the SBA has contacted us, and after an on-site inspection, they're going to replace flooring in the multi-purpose room at the Thurgood Marshall Elementary School. The good news is they've come in and said they're going to pay for that. The bad news is it will take approximately 14 weeks during the summer of 2022. So quite a lengthy process there. Yeah, there might be some scheduling issues that we'll have to work around as a district.
Yeah, so we're discussing with the curriculum and instruction folks the extended school year and summer programs. It's that room plus the kitchen that's off the multi-purpose room that will be off limits, but the rest of the building will be open to students and staff. So it's just a matter of making sure we plan properly to accommodate the project that's going to take place for most of the summer.
Third item, our architects put together 3 of the ESSER, and the ESSER is the federal money that's been given to the district. 3 ESSER bid proposals, one for $7 million, one for $5 million, and one for $5.6 million in the facility repairs and improvements area. We're dealing with will involve bids for new HVAC, air conditioning, boiler replacement, electrical upgrades, remodeling science classrooms and the media center, and we expect that first bid to be released in early March. The other audit is the annual audit that we do every year, contracting with accounting firm to do so. The state has postponed the deadlines for that. The data uploads have been done on January 4th. The final report is due February 5th. Finally, if you recall, there was the court decision fairly recently whereby a judge determined that New Jersey did not get federal funding if they were going to be cutting funding to districts. And in effect, they've been cutting funding to districts such as us under the S2 bill we've gotten used to. We still don't have guidance on that, so at this point, we're still going along. We have to anticipate there will be that almost $7 million cut. The governor's budget address will be February 23rd, and then the budget figures will be released 48 hours after that address. So we'll be looking in February as to what is our budget. We'll be talking then about if we as a board continue. We've got some new members now that we've talked about before, but continuing as Asbury Park weans itself off of this state money that Asbury Park as a municipality, we must continue to pay additional funds to be paying our state mandated fair share for the budget. So we're going to have to be talking about that tax increase later on. And that was fun.
But that could change too because of us. So that formula now, the case that they have to reproduce the formula, the number that they use, whatever the factor is, the S2 formula.
Right. Well, they have to release the formula now based on different litigation. Stop me at any point, Counselor.
You got it right so far.
That the formula to determine the ultimate budget of the school district had not been made public, and a number of districts sued, and the initial court decision now is that must be released. I thought it was
7 districts.
Was it 7?
Yeah, and if I can, just for the board, when this came out, do we want to sign up for the lawsuit? It was my recommendation that we hold steady with where we are, because we arguably would reap the benefits of any awards that would come out as a result of this. And so it's my understanding that the most recent case was really with regard to the release of additional algorithms related to the S2 formula. It's unclear whether or not there's going to be any, what, if any, the result of any of this is going to be. The only thing we know thus far is we're going to figure out what the formula is, but beyond that, nothing else for now.
But there is going to be a way, I'm hoping, that we can then say, wait a minute, this formula doesn't work, especially since there's kind of that murkiness of what happens to the pilot money, is that figured in, or the residents that are within the area where they don't pay into the district, they pay a pilot, that kind of a thing. So, hopefully we'll have an opportunity to
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's unclear when, if at all, any, at the end of the day, the only thing we care about is, do we get what we're owed, and is it our, our fair share, so to speak. It remains to be seen how long that's going to take. I would not, start to adjust your budgets on the hope that anything's coming anytime soon.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah,
But the CNI committee did meet, we did discuss, certain board trips. We also discussed that, the Abbott curriculum management be approved, that is a CUSAC recommendation. We discussed Empower Summit to provide reducing the risk program to treat students in grades 9 through 12, and also harassment, intimidation, and bullying policy, which is a recommendation from the New Jersey Department of Education on January 31st, 2022. And also Rutgers Graduate School would like to do a professional development for paraprofessionals and teachers on the elementary level, grades K through 5. And the last thing is a recommendation for approval for the school district to partner with Wellspring Center for Prevention to provide prevention life skill program for students 7 through 12.
Hi, how's everyone doing? I'm doing great. Cool. So, buildings and grounds, we had a facility use request. Well, there were a few facility use requests. AP Little League paid their fee for the upcoming season. The first event was a pancake breakfast, and buildings and grounds working with some extra comedy groups in the kitchen for the event. The other facility use request was something that we had a kind of a long-ish discussion about, and that was the A7FL football league that applied to use the high school stadium for the upcoming spring and summer season. And A7FL is essentially an adult notepads full contact football league, right? And the committee noted that some reports received last year of unruly fans is something to consider. There was also there was some, I guess, some of the neighbors complained about the noise. Granted, I don't know if that the neighbors were at Asbury Park or over across the lake at Bear Lake. And also there was some recreational use of some substances, and that kind of was a little off-putting, right? And so the committee recommended the group to be asked to provide police for their games at their own cost, but I did want to kind of open it up as well for discussion amongst the board around it. So, and I know Mr. Reed probably has something to say about it. So, what we want to do is, why don't I continue, because there's a little bit left, and then we'll go back to it, all right? And then we also talked about the waiting for the final confirmation from the SDA for the allotment of funds in the amount of the $281,000 and change for the replacement of the elevator over at MLK for elementary school. We spoke about the architectural services. We reviewed the study proposals related to ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 grants. District architect proposed 3 separate bids, totaling approximately $7 million, $5 million, and $5.6 million each. Facility repairs, stocking occurred before. And other repairs that we talked about was, the administration continues to work with the new architect to review additional projects. And after appointment priorities, to work on ESSER-related grant-funded projects. And additionally, we're working with the architect on the elevator project, the 3rd Marshall Flooring project, and the wheelchair lift at the high school, as well as other safety repairs. So, a little redundant, but that's that.
In regards to the football league, they've been playing here with exception of COVID for years. They paid the district $10,000-$12,000. They've also hired police officers in the past, because I found that because I was there, As far as the noise, neighbors complain about hot water, they complain about our high school. It's gonna happen, you know, they complain about the sound system, things like that. As far as recreational use, if they hire police, then they're not allowed to loiter, and that's something that's gonna be put into the contract, you know, as far as them hanging around. And I know that I've actually had to shoot some people away, you know, because they stayed around for too long. But, you know, the whole noise issue, you know, they're paying insurance, they're paying our fee. One of the reasons when we put the turf in here years ago, was we wanted people to make use of it and, you know, try to make some money. If they're gonna pay $10,000 to $15,000, that should be adjusted with the cost of everything else going up. They're in charge of also cleaning up the stadium after they're done. We've gone through that, the last several years that they played here. You know, and broadcast, I think it's a good thing, as long as if they're held accountable for their actions and fans, and if they have 2, 4, 6, depending how many, you know, when they play all day. So they start early in the morning and they don't stop till 6, 7 o'clock at night, so it's like a 12-hour day that they play. And it's teams from 4 different states that come to play. I think it's a positive thing. You're always going to have people that are going to complain about certain issues. That's just the nature of, you know, of the game.
Right.
So I would like to see them come back. It's something that's a positive thing. It brings some of the kids in to see, you know, these guys, they have full-time jobs, so the ones that are playing, they don't play weekends. Because they're, you know, guys that play, maybe they played semi-pro, now they're just playing this. So you've got to have things that's going to pop up. You know, it just has to be adjusted and dealt with that time. So I don't see why we would, as long as we're going to pay the fees and have, you know, the soil costs and everything, I don't see a problem with it.
Can we move on? Sure. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Policy. First on the minutes is Strauss Esme updates. There were no updates received from Strauss Esme. Maybe someone can help me understand the Strauss Esme situation. I know Jeff did go over it, you know, briefly with me, but if anyone wants. Second on the list is the committee reviewed the general process used to review alerts, updates from Strauss Esme, and how that process plays out in the editing of existing policies, regulations, or adoption of new policy regulations. Bullet 2, Dr. Adams discussed the district's uniform policy, policy number 5511, student dress and grooming, and his intention to bring the policy back to active status for all grade levels. The committee reviewed current dress and footwear guidelines. The intention is to bring awareness back during the winter, spring, and begin with the policy in full effect September 1, 2022, so that parents, staff, and students will be prepared.
Ms. Hall, I did speak with Dr. Howard Morris, who will be providing the language from our student handbook to support that, to be in line with our reflective practices in terms of how we do corrective measures.
Thank you.
So she will be providing that information to the policy committee.
Thank you.
Good evening. Just real quick from the athletic committee, we spoke briefly about the Asbury initiative. I'm sure you guys have all read. It's been online, it's been in different newspapers. I think it's definitely moving forward, so that's a positive note. One sports update, the district is, there's only allowing 2 spectators per parents and guests. We're hoping that it's going to increase as we get through some of these transitions that we have, and that's going to be on a week-by-week basis. We posted the spring sports that's on the agenda tonight for the head and assistant coaches. The spring sports media day is to be determined. We had the fall media day, January 12th, for the headshots. Spring is coming up, and we have set the athletic banquet for June 16th. Mark that that'll be on the athletic field, very similar to what we did last year. We have one tent, we're looking to possibly purchase a second tent or something that we can add on to the existing tent to accommodate the grades 5 through 12. We had an overflow last year, so it was very well trying to, alleviate that. Hopefully we can have a second tent or something that could accommodate all of our parents and student athletes. And we're going to meet again the third Wednesday of the month at 1 o'clock, unless there's a schedule problem.
Ms. Breach, the number of spectators, that was just for the first 2 weeks. Actually, the restriction on spectators was done to ensure that we were not creating over the Christmas break, and in terms of the winter break, preventing the spread of COVID, and that lasted for about a week and a half. I did communicate with the athletic department that last week, because we had the upper elementary, the middle school had 2 remaining home games, I did inform that they would have the opportunity to have 2 spectators. However, that was also lifted going into this week, where we will return and adopt with the current guidelines outlined by the SIAA for participation as long as spectators have on masks. So we are no longer right now having a restrictive number of spectators, and that was communicated. But I just wanted to provide clarity on that. And so it was a gradual increase to ensure that we were doing it safely. But as of now, and that was, we have returned, but we should be returning to full adherence to the state spectator guidelines.
Thanks.
So, just to point out, June 16th is that on a board committee meetings. Or stuff like that.
Because we have our senior awards, a lot of stuff going on, graduation, things like that, so it's at night.
That's the day, okay.
It's at night, so hopefully, we need to.
All right, well, we can switch around.
Switch up.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, so before we go into public comment, we have a statement from our lawyer, Adam.
Okay, in accordance with Board Policy 0167, the Asbury Park Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and other matters of importance, and provides members of the public with the opportunity to express themselves on school matters of community interest. The public comment portion of the meeting is not a question and answer session, and all public comments shall be directed to the board president or the presiding officer of the meeting. Members of the public who wish to make public comments must be recognized by the presiding officer and provide his or her name, municipality of residence, and group affiliation, if any. All public comments shall be directed to the presiding officer and are limited to 3 minutes in duration. Members of the public who do not follow the foregoing rules and or interfere with the orderly operation of the board meeting may be removed from the meeting.
Thank you, Adam. At this time, I'll open up public comment.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? My name is Tamaka Davis. I'm an Asbury Park resident. I have 4 students that attend the district. I have 2 students in high school, 1 in elementary and 1 in middle, 1 in elementary and 1 in middle school. 2 girls' schools. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. The reason for my presence at this meeting today is to address virtual learning with students. So I just heard the gentleman say before, during winter break, that COVID numbers there was a surge from December into January. The numbers are declining. I work in healthcare, I work frontline, I work in the hospital, Central State, and Rizzo. So I'm a frontline worker every day. So when winter break was over, I decided to keep my children at home. So I've been having an issue with the board, and not a personal issue, because everyone's been very helpful. They've been communicating with me, I've been communicating with them, regarding my concerns with all the kids' safety. You know, if I work frontline 12 hours and I come home and I'm exposing my children, God forbid, but it's happening. And then I send my kids to school because the truth is, you can have COVID and be asymptomatic. You understand what I'm saying? So then I come home to my kids, I had COVID in November, and I'm fully vaccinated. My kids are not vaccinated, which shocked me because I've been working in healthcare for almost 14 years, and when COVID initially hit, I was still a frontline worker. I protected myself, I wore my mask, I was very safe. I didn't contract COVID. I sent my kids to school, and my youngest one, who's 5, comes here to Bradley. He brought COVID home to me, and I gave it to the rest of my kids. I also have an 83-year-old grandmother that I take care of. So, you can get COVID in shot right. I can get COVID right now, talking on this microphone. It can happen. I'm not saying that, you know, it's not possible. It is. I just want to maintain safety for myself as well as everyone else. I'm on the same side as educators. I want the kids to be in school. They need that social interaction. They need to be one-on-one with the educators. They need to listen and learn. But I just feel as though if I decide that I want to keep my kids home for like a month or so just to see what's happening, I should have that option. And it shouldn't count against them. So my kids have been marked absent, but they've been doing like Google Classroom and talking to the teachers via email. I've been talking to the teachers. So it's happening. I just don't want them to suffer any repercussions later on because I want to keep them safe and keep you safe and keep your kids safe. You understand what I'm saying? So I appreciate you guys hearing that. So that is my main concern. I see the community is behind me, and I'm pretty sure we all share maybe the same values or maybe different concerns. And I think if we all communicate and come together and work together, it'll be easier to make things happen, to put a plan into effect. I'm a single mom. If my kids get sick, I have to stay home with them. I missed 3 weeks of work when I had COVID. Now I'm okay. You know, and it was tough for me, but I'm a hard worker, so I bounce back. But still, you know, I can't afford to have that happen again. So I just want to express my concerns with that. And if like I said, I'd like to keep my kids home just for a short while. I shouldn't be penalized, and they shouldn't be penalized, because eventually I do want them to come back into the school. I need them at school. I don't want them home with me. They eat up everything.
I hear you. I hear you. Thank you
So-
for your comments.
Thank you. That is my concern. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Mrs. Bray. I'm a resident of Asbury Park. I'm here once again about my daughter, Jonasia Bray. I'm really not sure where to even begin.
I'm sorry, Jack, can you put your mask back on first?
Excuse me?
Can you put your mask back on?
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, anyway. I'm here on behalf of my daughter, Jonasia Bray, and myself. I'm very concerned with education. She is home instruction. There has been technical issues with the online for her learning. The principal, Ms. Baumgartner, I guess she's more concerned with retiring, because she told me the reason why I'm not getting information is because my daughter's being homeschooled. But it's mighty funny that Monday through Friday, I drop my daughter off at school. Another thing, you send home these notices about events, but somehow they get to my home way later than the event is. You just had an event on the 21st, and I just received the notice and the mail on the 26th, which means I've already missed it. I'm not really sure. I really think the school is in a crisis, and it's really difficult to keep it open, because not only can you not guarantee the safety of this variant that's going around, these spikes are just ridiculous. I don't even understand why everybody is mainly pointing the finger at this person and that person who's at fault. I don't even understand how you can blame teachers to diffuse an issue or a situation when they don't even know the community or the children of the community. Only thing they know is a file that follows these children and what these children display. They don't know if these children ate at home. They don't know if these children get beat at home. They don't know if these children being sexually assaulted. They don't know if these children parents were just taken away. Like, you don't know. You don't know anything. Every time I turn around, you're worrying about how many people come into a sports event. I can't even give my child a proper education, so why would I even care about some sports and athletic things that's going on? Is that going to help her? Too, once again, I have to use the word survive because you all seem to use the word succeed so much, and I'm really not understanding how my child is succeeding when you know she's on home instruction, but teachers that I met and I talked to on the back to school night that know she's on home instruction are sending my daughter progress reports of failing and absent, and you tell me that you're going to rectify it, but you're not, so I'm worried about my child's education. I'm not sending my child here because of health reasons. And that's all I have to say. You need to get things going, work together. That's what you need to do. Stop worrying about these sports. You need to worry about the safety.
Anyone else? At this time, we'll close public comment.
Mayor, I think, Ms. Davis, I think you and I had a conversation via phone.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well, physically. As I indicated to you during our phone conversation, that the decision to provide virtual instruction option is not one that we as a district have the latitude to do. That is an order from the governor that is pushed through the Department of Education. Unlike the previous year, last school year, that was an option that was accessible to families. However, this year, that is not an option that we as school districts have the latitude to offer. As I said to you, whatever communication that you would have with your children's teachers, that that would be beneficial. However, we still have the responsibility to record attendance. As you know, compulsory education and seat time for the high schoolers is important, and so I think that may be something that you want to visit with the guidance counselor for your high schoolers, but for your elementary and your upper elementary school students, that's another different conversation. But again, as I said to you on the phone, that's not that's not up to us as far as Asbury Park. That's the entire state. And so, again, I just wanted to address that because you and I did have the conversation. Okay? And I thank you for coming out this evening. Are there any questions from the board members? Okay, we have a couple of presentations. I'm sure that'll be at the 7 o'clock hour. Microphone check. Okay. I'm not going to say one too. We do have a couple of presentations at the 7 o'clock hour with our Start Strong summary results. Also, board members, we have responded and provided you in the weekly update a response to the request for expansion. I'll be talking about that briefly during my 7 o'clock portion of the superintendent's presentation. But we did provide a response to the request for college achieve to expand to grades 10, 11, and 12. And I'll get some commentary on that. Madam President, would you mind if we did the start strong presentation now? Because we have two presentations in recognition of when we come back. So Mr. Ruiz, would you mind doing your presentation now?
Yep.
Thank you. Mr. Ruiz did provide a hard copy in front of you to share with you one of the presentations this evening. The other was provided to you via the weekly update regarding the HIV information, which was presented back in September by Dr. Howard Mars. However, that is on one of the just the agenda items to be approved. Mr. Ruiz, you may proceed.
Thank you, Dr. Adams. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, families and teachers and the board members and our technical team. Today, I'm tasked with going over with you all the Start Strong results and some of the results that were distributed out to families back in December. And I want to take this opportunity to kind of go briefly over some of those results so we can kind of see how we utilize the data and how important it is for us to kind of use data in the proper way and in the proper context. First thing you should know is that Start Strong was the first assessment all students took probably in New Jersey when they got back after the pandemic. It was a required assessment. What is Start Strong? What it's intended to do? It's intended to produce information that should be used as a standards-based complement to the resources that we use in the district. Which we administer quickly, so it's a short 25 minute to 60-minute assessment, and it meant the federal flexibility, right? Because we were not taking the NJSLA, so the federal government decided that this was a good enough replacement, and it provided flexibility for the school year 2021. And so we were administering this test in English language arts, mathematics, and science. What Start Strong is not intended to do is very important as what it is intended to do, which is it is not to replace local standard-based benchmarks and assessments. We do our own benchmarking, we do our own testing. This is not to replace that. This is to work in conjunction with. It is not intended to replace our spring New Jersey student learning assessment. The NJSLA will take place this year. So if this does not, even though we took at the beginning of this year, this assessment is not intended to override what we want to take at the end. And this is a one-time only flexibility granted by the United States federal government. What does it mean for us and how we use the data? The data is based on student understanding of last year's standards. So you're going to see grades 4 and up. There's testing for the standards from grade 3 and up. So they were 4th graders this year, they were 3rd graders last year, we tested 3rd grade standards, so forth and so on. We administered on linear form C at the end of last year to measure proficiency in those same standards. That's very important. I want you to remember that. We're going to circle back to this. We share that data with our teachers, that's the Form C data, at the start of this year to inform them of the standards that need more support and those that show more proficiency. And this gave us the information we needed so that we could immediately start the school year with results that mattered. And obviously, because we had to also wait for Start Strong, we didn't want to wait for Start Strong assessment data because we needed to start right away. And that data was released in mid-December, so that gives you an idea why we need to be ready to go right from the beginning. I'm just going to go over some of these charts quickly. There's a lot of data, there's a lot of things to look at, and I don't want you to focus on all the numbers because at the end I'll show you how it all plays out. But what I do want you to look at is that we're trying to get our students from here over here. From needing strong support, some support, to needing less support. That is the way the data is broken down by Start Strong. It's broken down in 3 categories. You have the grade levels, and then you have all grades. Okay? This shows you the grade levels, the same data you just saw, but in a bar graph. Important to note, obviously we want less red, we want more green. Kind of basic, right? And over here, this is the total for all grade levels. Same data for mathematics. It's hard to see here, but I did highlight in both charts some of the data that was positive. It's a little bit more bolded, but it's hard to see right now. That's okay. For those who have the sheet, you can see it on yours. Again, same thing. Math is an area that we are strongly focusing on this year. We've adopted a new math program. We have a new math supervisor coming on board, so we're really excited about what the possibilities are in mathematics as we move forward. Same thing for science. Why do you see less data? Because in science, the state tests 3 grade levels. They test 5th grade, 8th grade, and 11th grade. You see grades 6, 9, and 12 because they're current 6, 9, and 12 grades. Same thing with science. Again, the 3 grade levels. And then at the end here, there's a total for the 3 grade levels. So what I decided to do, what we decided to do, is look at how do we compare to districts like ours, district factor agents, which are the former advocates. Some of them you are very familiar with. And so what I did was take that same data and try to look at how general population did against the same group of students. And so we were able to gather data using a Lincoln platform from 11 districts, about 27. So the group right here, A, about 26,700 plus students, to kind of get an idea what we do. Here's science, and here's district factor group A in science. So I looked at it, and what I wanted to do is kind of compare our general ed students and where we fall. You see this is very similar within a couple of points of each other. Did the same thing for mathematics. Again, like I said, math is an area that we are strongly focused on. This year was a major focus on mathematics. Last year during the pandemic, we brought a new math series, started training everyone, so we expect to see a lot of good growth here. And then same thing for language arts, as you can tell, we're pretty much in line where our district factor falls and our students are in our general education. So again, I circle back, what does this mean for us and how we're using the data? And I just want to remind you that again, it's about understanding where our students were when they came into the school year this year, what data we use, in this case it was Liquid Form C, to kind of inform us along with our own benchmark data so that we can start the year right at the beginning, not waiting for the state's assessment results to come in. We share that data early so that our teachers knew what the focus standards would be as they start the school year. And then we, once we got the start strong results, we sent out the individual student reports to families at the end of December. Those were mailed out to all of you. You might have gotten them right before or just after the winter break. And that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions or you want to do a deeper dive, just please contact me at your convenience. I'll be happy to go over. There were a lot more slides in this, but I want to just kind of give you guys a little overview of what the source will be. Thank you.
Thank you.
So whereas the Public Meeting Act allows inclusion from this discussion as a public portion of the meeting of certain matters as outlined below. And whereas the Asbury Park Board of Education was to discuss such matters made and will make such decisions public when the proper conclusion has been reached. Now therefore by it resolved that January 27, 2022 at Asbury Park, New Jersey, for the purpose of outlined and described below. Upon return actions may be 1, confidential matters pursued on court orders, 2, impact the rights of received federal funds, 3, unwanted invasion of individual privacy, and 4, collective bargaining. 5, acquisitions of real property or investment of funds. 6, public safety procedures. 7, limitations or contract matters of client privileges. 8, matters for personnel matters, or 9, imposition of penalties upon an individual. Motion to go into executive.
For the members of the public, the board's going to be retiring into executive session. It's anticipated that executive session will last approximately 15 minutes or so, after which time the board will return to this room and we will then convene for our regular board meeting. So thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
So in accordance with provisions of the Open Public Act, NJSA 10:4-6, PL 1975, C231, S1 mid 2006, C70, S2, the Asbury Park Board of Education has provided adequate notice of this meeting by sending notice of time, date, location, and to the extent known. The agenda of this meeting to Asbury Park Press, the new poster on January 14, 2022 via email. Copies of this notice has been placed at the administrative building, bulletin board, district schools, Asbury Park Municipal Building, Asbury Park Police Department, and filed with the city clerk on January 14, 2022. For our mission statement, Asbury Park District will provide all students with a comprehensive progressive education where everyone possesses the skills and characteristics to succeed in diverse, evolving global society. Roll call, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Alves? Ms. Breach?
Here. Here.
Ms. Grillo?
Here.
Mr. Weatherhocken? Here. Mr. Remy?
Here.
Ms. Wicks?
Here.
Mr. Saunders?
Here.
Ms. Lozinski?
Here.
Ms. Cook?
Here. If you can all rise to the left, please. To the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Part of our presentation that we've been doing for the last several months is recognizing our students. I would like to have our four building principals, please, we'll start with the high school, Ms. Kathy Baumgartner, and then we'll do our presentation. So we have a presentation portion.
Do you want the mic? Yeah. Okay. Who's your student? What's his name? Alexander. Okay. Say something. Parents, you can come up. He's going to take a picture. Come over.
Okay, thank you, Dr. And at this time, I would like to present Alexander Gonzalez, the student of the Month Certificate of Excellence for Asbury Park High School. Alexander is an exemplary student. He has all honors classes, and he is one of my students that I have had since Banquet. So congratulations, Alexander.
Dr. Jackson? What's the student? Last name?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Lauren Jackson. I am the proud principal of Thurgood Marshall Elementary School. And tonight we are awarding Ms. Jesslyn Philippe, who is joined by her mom and dad, for Student of the Month for Thurgood Marshall. I would also like to share words tonight honoring Jesslyn that are from her two teachers, Ms. Pinnock and Ms. Morris, and her classmates in her first grade classroom of why she is our Thurgood Student of the Month. Jesslyn is truly a model student. She has demonstrated traits of cooperation, kindness, consideration for herself and others. Jesslyn listens to and follows all directions in the classroom and reminds students about rules. She is very helpful to her teachers and fellow classmates. Jesslyn says that she loves school. On the academic level, Jesslyn is practicing sound-by-sound processes to learn how to read. understands how to write a complete sentence, is focused, very attentive to all skills being taught. She asks questions, determines what she needs to do, loves math, and can explain how she arrives at answers and will read any type of book. Justin loves her family because they help her with her homework and taught her how to ride her bike, and she enjoys going to the store with her mom and dad, as well as playing in the park. We congratulate you, Justin, on being Student of the Month.
Go to camera. Thank you. Ms. Jackson Byers. Who's your student? What's your student name? What's your student name? Oh, okay, back up.
Good evening. I am the proud principal of Bradley Elementary School. I am honored tonight to honor my Student of the Month. And just to give you a little background, our superintendent has been very vigilant and very direct as far as being student-centered. So we here at Bradley Elementary, we actually had a writing contest in which my Student of the Month, not only did she win, she was the Student of the Month, she became Principal of the Day. So I would like to say congratulations to that. She was like my little mini-me. Messiah, she had everything. So Messiah, you can come on up, sweetie. I just have a couple of things for you. So Messiah, I wanted her to make sure that she remembered the day that she was principal for the day. So I gave her a little collage of the day when me and her were twins. We were walking around, and she was my twin all day. Did you love being principal of the day? Yeah. She loved it. Also, I wanted to give her a little something that says she's running around, and of course it has to be picking, just nothing, nothing. And also give her Bradley Elementary School paraphernalia, of course. And for Mom, since we want to say, this is actually for you, saying thank you for bringing us our principal of the day, Mr. Cy Pittman. And of course, you are our family, and we want you to give you an official t-shirt that says Bradley, the place where all students are prepared for college and career readiness, and thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And we have Mr. Perry Medina from Martin Luther King Upper Elementary.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. And Martin Luther King Jr. Upper Elementary Student of the Month is my friend Santino Noel. Come on, buddy. Santino is supported here by his brother and his dad. I'd like to say that Santino is a clear model student. He is organized, driven, and an inspiration for other students. He has stellar grades and a remarkable will to perform. I'm extremely proud and honored about how kind and respectful he is, and the fact that he's on an amazing track for success. And Gino also excels greatly in math, which is something that we truly appreciate. So, Gino, on behalf of Martin Luther King Elementary, I'd like to provide or give you this gift along with your award. And again, congratulations.
Dad, you can get right here. All right, thank you. So the second portion of our recognition, as you know, we've been back in person full time. And that would not be possible without the dedication of our custodial engineers. And so today, what we've attempted to do is to show a small appreciation for the work that they've done to keep us in person. They follow the strict guidelines and the CDC protocols for keeping our buildings clean and safe. They've worked exceptionally hard during the summer and they continue to set a stellar example. You might see a few of these gentlemen who've been up here before. It gives me great pride to recognize them. So I'm going to have them come up. Mr. Xavier, if you want to come up first, please. I have one representative from each school from the high school. They are going to accept certificates. Yep. Xavier, well, excuse me. Mr. Gibbs, excuse me. Mr. Gibbs, I want to thank you and all of the high school custodial engineers for doing an exceptional job in keeping the building open, safe for in-person learning. It could not and would not be possible without you and your staff at the high school. So thank you. Then we have Mr. Del Rico Gibbs, head from Bratton Elementary School. Mr. Bridges. Again, thank you. It gives me great pleasure. Again, when I first came into this district 7 years ago, you were part of the custodial team at the middle school and delivered great service and always have been about making sure that our buildings are clean and safe. And now you're a head guy here and continuing that level of excellence. And I thank you. Mr. David Blow from Gonzalez. Again, another individual who continues to set an example. You do a great job. Again, I won't hold it against you that you're a 49ers fan. But nonetheless, thank you for, again, another individual who was on my custodial team at the middle school, who was a member of the custodial team, who is now a head custodial engineer and having his own school. And again, congratulations and thank you for your leadership. And I would ask, Sheila, Ms. Barr? Oh, sorry, Mr. Washington is here for Mr. Mike Byers, the head custodian of the Banquet School. Mr. Washington is actually retiring, and it does us great pleasure to recognize you and all of your years of service to the children here in Asbury Park, as well as doing a great job at helping continue keeping my old stomping grounds and now your home, Martin Luther King Jr. Upper Elementary, open, safe, and clean. Thank you very much. All of our children, please express our appreciation. We would not be open in person had it not been for the work and dedication that you and your staff do every day. So thank you. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, everyone. Ms. Howard, do you want to do the monthly health report?
Dr. Howard Marsh's presentation was given in the weekly update.
Before I open up the public comment, our lawyer, Adam, will say something. Say it.
Okay, in accordance with Board Policy 0167, the Asbury Park Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and other matters of importance, and provides members of the public with the opportunity to express themselves on school matters of community interest. The public comment portion of the meeting is not a question and answer session, and all public comments should be directed to the board president or the presiding officer of the meeting. Members of the public who wish to make public comments must be recognized by the presiding officer and provide his or her name, municipality of residence, and group affiliation if applicable. All public comments shall be directed to the presiding officer and are limited to 3 minutes in duration. Members of the public who do not follow the foregoing rules and/or interfere with the orderly operation of the board meeting may be removed from the meeting.
Thank you. And with that being said, public participation is now open. Nope. Okay. I guess at this time we'll close public participation. State manufacturer report, please. Karen?
Thank you, Madam President. As you may be aware, January is School Board Recognition Month. So we've received our annual resolution that's been written and put together by school boards to honor our school board members who put in tireless effort to support the community, the school district, the students, and the staff. Whereas the New Jersey State Board of Education, which adopts the administrative code to implement state education law, has established rigorous standards through its promulgation of New Jersey student learning standards, which set the expectations of academic achievement for nearly 1.4 million public school children. And whereas New Jersey's locally elected and appointed boards of education play a vital role in ensuring that their local school districts meet state standards and adhere to state and federal education statute and regulations, with the goal of preparing all students for college and the workplace, thereby enabling them to compete in a global economy. And whereas New Jersey's 5,000 nonpartisan local Board of Education members and charter school trustees are public servants who dedicate their time without pay or benefit to the oversight of school district operations, sound financial practices, comprehensive policies, curriculum, staffing, and the well-being and academic achievement of all students in the district. And whereas the efforts of local boards of education in conjunction with state education officials and local educators have built a foundation of success that has led to New Jersey's status as a leader in student achievement, as evidenced by the National Assessment of Educational Progress scores. And whereas the National School Boards Association and New Jersey School Boards Association have declared January 2022 to be School Board Recognition Month, now therefore be it resolved that the New Jersey State Board of Education and the Acting Commissioner of Education recognizes the contributions of our state's local boards of education to the academic success of its public school students and expresses its sincere appreciation to local Board of Education members for their continued focus on the achievement of children throughout New Jersey, and be it further resolved that the New Jersey State Board of Education and the Acting Commissioner of Education encourages qualified New Jersey citizens to consider serving as members of their local school boards. It's a statement of recognition. We don't necessarily have to adopt it, but you have to vote that we all think you guys are right.
Thank you.
Joe said I'm gonna stay.
Could I get a motion on A2, number 10 for the minutes, and that's number 10, A, B, C, and D?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Lozinski, second by Ms. Breach. Any questions or
Yeah, if I may, thank you, Jeff. With regard to A, 10A, and B, and 10C, for the new board members, my suggestion would be that you abstain from it just because you weren't here for this meeting. You weren't, I'm sorry, you may have physically been here, but you weren't seated as board members at the time.
So this is for minutes, A, B, C, and D on A2. Ms. Lozinski?
Yes.
Ms. Breach?
Yes.
Ms. Alls? Abstain, thank you. Mr. Grillo?
Yes.
Mr. LaRocca?
Yes.
Mr. Remy?
Yes.
Ms. Ricks? Thank you. Mr. Saunders?
Yes.
Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Madam President, I act for consent agenda for all items on B1, B2 through B6. Move it. Second. Questions, comments? Yes?
For all items B1 to B6. Ms. Lozinski?
Yes.
Mr. Grillo?
Yes, on all items except abstain on B4 and 9.
Thank you. Ms. Alls?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Breach?
Yes, we stayed on B4, 5.
Sorry, on B4,
5.
5. Thank you. Mr. LaRocca?
Yes.
Mr. Remy?
Yes.
Ms. Ricks?
Yes, and I'm staying on all that with personnel.
Jeff Shipstein, the all members, except.
Yes, and I was saying all items that we do with personnel on tonight's agenda.
Mr. Saunders?
Yes.
Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Quickly, board members, I would like to recognize 3 of our new appointed individuals in the audience this evening. I would like to recognize Dr. Gibson, who will now be our new Director of Human Resources. Ms. Donna Rizzio, who will be taking over our Supervisor of Mathematics. Mr. Paul Jr., who will be our Data Communication Specialist. Welcome, and welcome.
Yes.
We truly appreciate it for coming to join the task here that we have in Asbury Park, and all of your skills and expertise will surely be needed.
Madam President? Madam President, Mr. Savoy started already tonight by helping me with my district password.
That's fine.
Jeff seconded it.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to get a motion for all items C1 number 1 through C4 number 10. And I would like to point out on C4 we have donations on number 9 from Miss Judy L. Brown, the proud daughter of the late Dorothy L. McNish, with books, But I Don't Want to Wear a Mask. And then we also have the United Way of Allen County donated 335 coats to be distributed from our various buildings. Have a motion, please?
Second.
Questions or comments? Since we're all at C11 for C410, Ms. Lozinski,
Yes.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Alves,
Yes.
Ms. Grillo,
Yes.
Mr. Lonnie,
Yes.
Mr. Reddy,
Yes.
Ms. Riggs,
Yes.
Mr. Saunders,
Yes.
Ms. Cook.
Yes.
All items carried.
Second.
You sure?
All in favor?
All right.
Joe, I can help you with that. Don't close, I'm gonna close it right time.
Give him a good rating.
Wow.